Okay, everyone, I got a little bit of time here and motivation, so we're going to do a little gun review. This is my Waffen Fabrik Bern M78, better known, some people like to call them as a Vetterli. It's not stamped or marked Vetterli, it's marked Bern M78. I'm probably not pronouncing this right, but I'll put the correct spelling in the right hand side here. This one here has been modified to fire 28 gauge, so you can see they've added or put a different butt on it. Anyway, you can see they put like a good 1.5 inches on the end of the stock, and they've chopped the front down and put a shotgun bead sight on the front. These guns were produced in Switzerland, this model anyway. They were also made in Italy and made some other countries. This is the first bolt-action magazine fed rifle ever produced. This gun was produced in 1869 to the late 1880s, 88s I should say. After that they went to a magazine type clip, I want to say, or mag, whatever. This is Swiss, this one, I believe, and these were a Swiss service rifle. These were issued to any young adult, well, any adult 18 to 40 years old. They generally had one rifle per square mile issued. The only other army that beats it right now, I think, is Israel. But you can see how chopped up this thing is to fire 28 gauge. Now the stock has been cut down quite a bit, and there is an actual round plug in there. And this used to be loaded through a gate in the side, right here. Now it's kind of dark out in this room. But you can see they've placed a block of wood in the bottom, kind of probably glued it in there, so that will not work anymore. Yeah, so it's been modified to fire 28 gauge. When I bought the gun, I want to say early to mid 1990s, I think I paid $25 for it, or maybe it was $50, I can't remember. But I was told the guy used it for hunting birds, and he had it converted, or it was converted before, to 28 gauge. You can see they ripped the sight off here, and they added that, and I got a box of shells with it too. It sold for $4.10. These box of shells right here are probably worth more than the gun. They're the paper type, really old compared to the, and folded over in the end, compared to the new plastic type high brass. Okay, I don't know how this is going to turn out. We're going to try to give you a closer look. You can see the weather bluing's coming off on it a bit, but this gun's been around a long time. It's not going to turn out. There's not enough light here to get it properly focused in. Well, there is light here, but it's not what you need. You're probably not going to make it out, but it does say M78 on the bottom, and you might be able to make out the Bern and the Waffen Fabrik. I'm not pronouncing that, but above that you can see a little cross right there. Now I'm going to give you a little bit more close up on this side. I should be doing this in the daytime, but the house is too noisy. Little story behind this. A while ago the neighbor called me up and she says she wanted to know if I could come over and shoot a raccoon. I said, yeah, I guess. She didn't want her husband shooting it because it was too close to the house. Apparently she boiled 3 full tea kettles of hot water. She told me this raccoon was in her bush or shrub on the side of her house, and it wouldn't go away, just outside the dining room window. She's boiled 3 tea kettle fulls of water and dumped it on its head, and it still wouldn't go away. She thought it was rabbit. So I couldn't find, I'm going to say, my keys, since in Canada, for my 12 gauge. Or, no, I think it was the shells I couldn't find. But as you can see, in Canada, we're lucky enough to have all trigger locks. But you know what? If you have kids around, you should have your firearms locked up on trigger locks, and your ammunition locked up, just to keep them out of it. And better yet, if you can lock the room too, and get a big dog. Anyway, I have all that actually. Yeah, so I go over there and the only thing I could find shells for was this 28 gauge, and I never fired it. So I actually shot one of these old ones right here, or was it two? I think it was one. Yeah, I fired one of those. I shouldn't have fired it. I probably just depreciated the box of bullets, but anyway. So I go over there, and the old fella met me at the door, and we walked around the side of the house, and this nice fancy bush was all ripped to shit. And I looked closer. Yeah, there's a raccoon in there. And I looked a little bit closer, and he had a foot trap on. And I asked the neighbor where he got that from. He was all wound up in the tree with a foot trap on, and they couldn't wonder why the thing wouldn't go away. And if you can see that, there's a looks like a Swiss sign there. But yeah, the poor thing got 3 tea kettle fulls of boiling hot water dumped on it, and because it wouldn't go away, because it had a foot trap on and it was wound up around the tree. Anyway, needless to say, this thing kicks like a mule, and it blew half his head away, put it that way. It's pretty gruesome, but at that point it had to be done. There was no way I was going to try to release the trap on that raccoon, because I didn't know if he was, well, needless to say, he was a bit pissed off. They had 3 tea kettlefuls dumped of boiling hot water on him. So anyway, this thing here, I don't know if I'll ever fire it again with these, because the end of the shell, when I pulled it out, I had to pry it out for one thing. 2, the end of the shell where that paper comes out was tapered in quite a bit. I think this is, now someone's going to correct me, this is 10 millimeter point something, the bore on this thing. Now the other thing I don't like, and I probably won't fire this again with the 28 gauge in it, and apparently this old fella that had it did it all the time, is if you look really close, the head spacing in there, I'm in the light, the head spacing is not good, and you can see the end of the shell. Now you can see that's really loose. And the other thing I don't like about this, it's single shot, which is fine, I guess, but it cocks a mechanism. I don't know if I can do this one hand. It cocks a mechanism as you pull the bolt up. Now, that drives me nuts. You can see the little gate thingy here that was supposed to bring the next round up. This does, however, it did, however, fire a copper-cased black powder rimfire cartridge. It was a pretty hefty round, and then in its day, this gun was considered fairly accurate. Now, I can see down in there, it had 2 firing pins on the left and right originally. This one here has been converted with a center one right in there. You can see it. That's not original. That was done later on, either by whoever converted it to 28 gauge or some other country, probably the latter. You can see the 2 little holes on the side. That was a dual firing pin system, and it hit the black powdered rimfire cartridge. I believe it was black powder. Someone's going to correct me on that, but this is pretty old. It's I don't know, considered an antique, but it's not worth much because it's been chopped up into 28 gauge. So there you have it. I think I've talked long enough about this. Yeah, I do not like the style of the action. Cock I'm not sure where the safety is. I haven't fired it off. Now maybe perhaps the Mauser action was based on this. I have no idea, but I do not like how it locks in. It has you can see right in there. These are the locks when you pull it down, but I don't like the looseness of the head spacing. Anyway, there you have it. Nice old gun. It does fire rather well. It just scares me that it'll blow up my face one of these times. And I'm almost convinced that's a symbol on the side of this. Anyway, that's enough of that.